Welcome to the Safari Yangu podcast, where we share our stories unapologetically, experiences that shaped us and continue to shape us. I'm your host, Miss Kimaru, and I'm back. I know it's been a while. I had promised myself I'll be very consistent with this podcast, but life took a different turn. In August, I was kind of busy. I took a break to actually go to Uganda, new experiences, yes, and also to meet new people and to shoot content for my other podcast, the Sparkit podcast. So please go and check our latest episode featuring South Sudanese youth. Yes, and now we are back on track, hopefully. And I'm excited. In this episode, I'm excited to launch a new segment called Lessons from My Life. And this will be a space where I share some of the pivotal experiences that have shaped who I am. And also where I sit down with guests who open up about the lessons that have defined their own journeys. So yes, Safari Yangu is all about your journey. But this particular segment will focus more so on a lesson in your life. So we will pick a lesson or two, and then you can give us the background story that encompasses this particular lesson. And I hope honestly that on this particular segment I can share my very first experience and the lessons I drew from this experience. And so stay tuned. And on today's episode I want to talk about two lessons from a particular experience: resilience, and another one, trusting in the process and trusting God. Yes, so those two. In 2002, just a little background story. In 2000, I was in grade 3. Yes, I'm an oldie. Yes, in 2000 I was a grade 3. And I particularly remember we were living in a very remote area in Kericho, and we would walk like a very long distance to go to school. And I remember like going down a hill or a very sloppy road to our school. These memories are so fresh, yet I was just a grade 3 student. And our school had like this big playground. I remember it, like that place in terms of the school, it holds memories of me walking with my brother to school and stuff like that. And then there used to be sports day in the school and people would start merchandising around. Yeah. So in 2000, I was in grade 3. And I remember our head teacher at the point, he says that people will not go to class 4 at the end of the year or the next year if they do not score 400 marks. At the time it was 500 was the ultimate score. So I do my exams at the end of the year and I score 396 marks. 396. I was 4 marks short of the proposed 400 marks to get me to grade 4. And when I tell this story, some people don't actually believe it, but for me it kind of defined my journey in such a big way. Yeah, so I got 396 marks, and I do vividly remember the next year, which was 2001, I was not allowed to go to grade 4. So the head teacher insists that I have to repeat classes. And for me, it didn't even make sense. Why would I repeat classes when I had literally scored 396? It means I'm not stupid. Like I have passed with flying colors. And I remember even my mother going to the school, talking to the head teacher, pleading with him. And she's like, no, this kid is brilliant. It doesn't make sense for her to repeat this grade. But the head teacher was adamant. And that is how, ladies and gentlemen, your girlie right here repeats grade 3. Yes. So I'm in grade 3 in 2001. So first term comes and first term goes. We go for the school holidays. And like I shared my experience on the Sparkit podcast, I talked about how our life like literally changed because of tribal clashes. My dad passed on, our village was torched, and we had to begin life afresh. And you can actually go listen to that particular episode, or maybe as I continue this podcast, I'll continue giving bits and bits of this story. Yeah, so we have to now even relocate from that place. And it was like this whole ordeal. The table clashes, they happened on a weekend, and we were supposed to open school on a Monday. So we didn't even open school for second term. The burial happens for my father, and we move. At this point, I go to live with my auntie in Nakuru. And here, no one even thought that maybe it would have been a good idea to actually take me to class 4. So I stayed in grade 3 or class 3. Yeah. So I continued in my second term and my third term. And after that, so that's the rest of 2001. In 2002, we move again. Now we go to Nakuru, where our extended family and well-wishers, they build us a new home. And now we have to start staying with my mother. So we move to Lanet. And now the thing is, we have to start rebuilding our lives. And that means new schools. So we go to school. My mom and my uncle, they're looking for a school to enroll us and stuff like that. And at this point, I'm supposed to go to grade 4. Every school we go to, they're like, no vacancy. And also, again, we couldn't have gone to like a far away school that needed us, maybe to board a bus or something like that, because we could not afford it. So the schools that were very close to home, every school said there's no vacancy except for one school called Lanet Primary School. It's opposite the barracks. So this school says, the vacancy that we can offer you is not for the next class. You have to repeat a class. Like you have to, if you're in class 3, you have to maintain class 3. There's not going to class 4. And I'm like, no, what the hell? No, this is not for me. So I remember I stayed home for like, I think 2 weeks with my mother. I'm like, no, I'm not going to school. Why would I go to school? Like what for? I'm not, at this point, I'm feeling like I'm not stupid. Why is everyone making me repeat a class? And I remember staying home, and people will go to school and they'll come back home and they'll find me at home. I was just there helping my mom with chores and stuff like that. And I don't think even I was getting bored. And 2 weeks later, a friend of my uncle, he shows up at home, and he's like, he calls me and walks me around the place. He's like, hey, you are just a very little girl. Repeating a class is not so bad. But for me, I was thinking, I've been in grade 3 or class 3 for 3 years. This will be my third year in grade 3. It doesn't make sense at all. So, but he tells me, it's fine. You might finish school a little bit later than was anticipated, but age is just but a number. That was the first time somebody told me age is just but a number. But this thing really haunted me. So and he told me, you're a brilliant baby, and you're gonna do so well. You are gonna be a great woman and stuff like that. So this man reassures me in the best way possible. And I remember after, by the time he was leaving, I accepted to go back to school. I was like, yeah, it's fine, I can go. So I think the next day I was actually back at school. But then I always felt like I did not belong. I felt like I did not belong. I would look at the class and feel like I was feeling my age. I'm like, no, I'm not supposed to be in class 3. At this point, I'm actually supposed to be in class 5. And people are making me repeat. It was the most traumatizing experience, I think, part of my childhood. One of the most traumatizing experience for me in my childhood. So I repeat class 3 now. It's my third year. That's 2002. It's my third year to be in class 3. And when I get to this class, it's like I was so brilliant. I was too brilliant for that class. I'm scoring high. I'm becoming number 1. Everything for me was working out so well because I had the capacity. I was too bright for that particular class. And I always felt so out of place. And I would see people celebrating their birthdays. Over the years, I think until when I was... actually did not overcome this until when I got to campus. But over the years from primary school, high school, I never celebrated my birthday because, and especially, or even tell like my classmates, because I would feel like I don't belong here. Where I am right now is not where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be like 2 years ahead. You get? Yeah. So for me, it didn't feel right. People will be like, oh, I'm this old and I'm in class 5. and I'll feel like I'm too old to be in class 5 at this particular point. Yeah, so it kind of traumatized me in that way. So, and the good thing, and honestly, about it was because my birthday is in December, so that kind of also helped, because most of the times Decembers we used to be on holiday, and so I didn't have to over explain, because I mean everybody is not around. But when it happens during the school term, it's very likely that people will notice or whatever, or they'll ask. But December, no. Yeah, so I lived with these. And I remember when I got to class 8, I worked so hard, and I was called to a national school here in Kenya. And joining this school, I still felt like out of place. I go to Form 1, I see people who are in, now they're supposed to be in Form 3, right? I was supposed to be in Form 3. Yeah, so honestly, this thing kept ringing in my head. You're not supposed to be here. You're not supposed to be here. So I felt like, since I was a child now in that grade 3, I felt like I fought so much to prove to people that this is not where I'm supposed to be, or I'm too good for this. So I was constantly trying to outdo myself, outdo people who are good. That was a constant battle, especially in primary school. I constantly battled with this, and I was trying to make sure that I wanted to be noticed. I wanted people to feel like I'm good enough. I am good enough. I am in the context of knowledge. I am very intelligent. I can do this. So if it's a composition, I'm supposed to get 40 out of 40. Honestly, I don't remember getting 40 out of 40, but I would probably make sure I got like 34 and above. If it's math, especially in primary school, if I'm supposed to get 80s and above, that's what I'm gonna get. So that's what I was doing over and over and over again. But my intelligence, I felt like I needed to be at par with the rest of the world. Yeah, so and then also now I finish high school, I go to uni, I'm still kind of feeling like, even when I'm still feeling like I also don't belong. When I finished uni, I kind of felt like, oh, maybe I should have finished like 2 years ago. Right now I could have already had like 2 years work experience and stuff like that. Honestly, this thing kind of haunted me for a little longer than it should have. And I remember, I don't know, I started telling people this story a bit later. I would be like, so maybe I would feel like, oh, this happened to me. This is how I feel, and stuff like that. And then people would be like, do you realize that probably if you did not repeat grade 3 times, or if you're not in grade 3 like for 3 years, you might not have gone to Sarehe, because I did go to Sarehe. And I'm like, So they're like, maybe you should count your blessings, because probably they say that some people have told me that my tragedies, or the tragedies of my life, also sort of like opened doors for something else. And particularly this whole idea of repeating classes, and also us going through those tribal clashes, my dad passing on, us relocating. So some people have said maybe if that did not happen, I would have probably not ended up in Sarehe, because also Sarehe was taking girls from, at the point, from disadvantaged backgrounds and giving them scholarships and stuff like that, which fit my description at the time. And going to Starehe for me opened a lot of doors. It molded the woman I became. It gave me the confidence to do a lot more, to explore myself, to learn more about myself, to do public speaking and all these things. So for me, according to my story, the people I talk about, I tell this, they keep telling me that your one experience led to another, to another, to another, to another. They became like a cumulative sort of experience that sort of defined your life. Because if say, for example, my dad had not died, we probably would never have moved. If I had not probably repeated class 3 all those times, I would not have probably felt the need to keep working hard or prove a point or something like that. And to get to Starehe, I definitely needed like really good grades, and I know I've always been good enough anyway. So yeah, this experience for me has taught me resilience, and it teaches you to toughen up, to look at life in a totally different lens. And now when I look back now, I appreciate it even more. It has taught me that sometimes we may plan, we make our own plans, and we're like, this is how I want the trajectory of my life to go. This is exactly how I would wish for things to be. But then things don't work out exactly that way. And it's God's will. So sometimes we sit down, we plan, we reflect, we manifest, we pray, and then God looks at us and He's like, I have the ultimate plan for your life. So for me, with these particular experiences, I have seen how God has written my personal story. He wrote this personal story for me. It might not have been the way I would have probably envisioned it in my head, but He wrote that story for me and He wanted me to walk all those steps. So, resilience and trusting in the process and trusting God has been what this particular story has taught me as a person. Every story carries a lesson, and every lesson lights that path ahead. Until next time, keep learning from your own safari. I'm your host, Miss Kimaru, and I hope this story has actually inspired you to stay on your path. Bye.